Oh, I just like him in a check shirt, sometimes a shirt and tie. Looking a bit battered now because I've dragged him all over the place and everything, so he's looking a bit worse for wear, but he still does the trick for me. I really value my independence, especially in the car, and I don't ever want to have to rely on any man or somebody else to be with me whenever I want to go out. I really like driving, and I've loved driving on my own day or night for years, until one day my bubble burst. Since then I've been extra careful where I go on my own, which I look on as a little bit of a defeat, really, for my independence. I was driving about 9, 10 o'clock at night, and this car of 2 or 3 men in there have just sort of appeared from nowhere behind me. Half the time couldn't see what I was doing, and I was driving far too fast, and then when they came up beside me, I was just putting my foot down, and I was just fleeing, as it were, for my life. They were trying to run me off the road, and I just managed to slam the brakes on and hand straight on the horn, hoping somebody would come and rescue me. One of the guys got out the car, and he just stood there really sort of menacingly. I just thought, yeah, this is it. I'm dead. It seemed like ages, but it was about a few seconds, and he just stood there, and he just had a cigarette, and he just flicked it at me in the car, as if to say, yeah, we can come back, we'll get you whenever we want, or you're just not worth it. So I eventually summoned up the courage to drive home to my mum.
Eventually, I calmed down. I said, we're not going to be victims like this. And we sort of sat up most of the night, had a cuddle, because when I calmed down, I had a cuddle, she was back. And we gradually sort of said, well, we need a makeshift man. And Justin was sort of born, if you like, that night.
Since that incident happened with the car chase, we actually gave up our jobs, and now we're full-time doing Just In Case. We're having them manufactured, and we're doing the sales and marketing. And we've got loads of export orders, and we're having a good few sold in Britain. He's now available in different skin tones, different hair colours, different age groups. It just sort of adds to the reality of it. He's a lot more discreet than a man. For a start, if you don't want him there, you just put him back in his case. He doesn't criticise your driving. He's just a dream, really.
Squirrel! Yes! Get the squirrels! I definitely feel safer with him in the car. Good boy. A number of people I know have been attacked in their cars and mugged. Their jewellery has been taken, their watches have been taken, and I think we read about it a lot in the newspaper now, that it's basically not a very good idea to draw attention to oneself. Unfortunately, it seems to be the world that we live in. I don't think it matters where you live or what kind of car you drive. I think you just have to be very, very careful today. I really do.
Women do have certain senses of insecurity when they're driving, partly realistically because they are attacked and they feel vulnerable, partly I think because they, even if that's not so, they feel vulnerable and they project onto male drivers the possibility of being attacked, and it's hard to know why. It's a fantasy, I think, really, that they'll be attacked, and it's, technically speaking, it's projected onto men. After all, the vast majority of men, vast majority of men, are not going to fling their car door open and attack them. So it's a mixture of reality, I think, and fantasy. Driving reflects wider changes in society and how people are dealing with them. I think it's very interesting, as a psychotherapist, particularly interesting, just how badly I think men behave. They just have to show, off, and they have to be quicker off the mark. They're difficult, and if it's a woman in a bigger car than they are, they're even more keyed up. It seems to be very much tied up with machismo, with being an erect and powerful man.
Never. Could never be driven by a woman. I have to be in the driver's seat all the time. I just don't like being in a car with a woman, not when she's in control of the wheel.
You get some women doing their makeup and you see them from behind, or they're talking with their girlfriends, just napping away, and they're not looking at what's happening ahead.
I don't understand why women's insurances are cheaper, because they're the ones who causes all the accidents. Just looking in front of them, not what's coming up behind them or out like that. It's just what's in front of them, and that's the main cause of the accidents. I like to see them banned. They shouldn't be on the road.
My job is being a mother, and I try to do it as well and as hassle-free as possible. I think it's very, very difficult to combine working, children, husband, house, and everything that entails. Maybe other people have more energy than I do, but I think it must be very, very, very stressful. Adults need their playtime. My husband takes the children to school in the morning. If he didn't take them to school in the morning by 4 o'clock, I don't think I'd be able to function. One school run a day is definitely adequate. I drive a Suzuki Jeep. Perhaps because I am a little bit higher up, I give the impression of being a little bit of a sturdier or a tougher car. I probably sound completely neurotic about crime. I suppose I am a bit neurotic. A lot of women feel safer in four-wheel drives or Jeeps, and I feel that I drive better when I'm in that car. It's the start of the weekend. I try and get everything done because the children are at school. Run down to Marks & Spencer. Hopefully it doesn't take me too long because the traffic isn't too bad and there aren't too many people there. Do my shop, come running home, unpack the shopping, have a bite to eat, take the dog out and pick up the children. So I have to fit everything in a relatively short space of time. And obviously, depending on the traffic, it either takes longer or shorter or, By Friday evening, I'm exhausted, but I suppose everybody else is as well. And that's my day. It's a rush. Okay, I'm very lucky. I've got a meter. Now I've got to maneuver into here. Brilliant, and I'm only about a minute away from Marks & Spencer.
courier. Come on! Jesus Christ. Female, got it? Another one. Because I'm paid 90 pence a mile. If I don't do the miles, I don't get any money. People don't understand that. They think I'm like this because I like to be, because I'm some sort of arsehole, you know. That isn't a woman, is it? Tell me that's not a woman. You fucking crazy? Is that your problem? Come on, you move. Come on! Move! Jesus Christ. Fucking idiot. Fucking period of what? Women. The gentler sex. I think that's what it's about, actually. I wouldn't say the weaker sex, but the gentler sex. So that's no good out here, is it? You know, I suppose that's why they don't fight wars. Because it's a bit like a war out here. I think this is why I get rid of all the testosterone during the day. You know, burn it up. I wouldn't have my wife sitting next to me while I do this, because she wouldn't believe it. You know, she just wouldn't believe the way I am.
Being in a metal box, like a car, always allows people to vent the worst sides of their characters. Why? Well, mainly because they're always on the move. Nobody's going to suddenly nobody's going to hold them responsible suddenly. And more so, I think, because of the anonymity. People can behave badly, they can behave aggressively, they can behave rudely, they can swear and curse when they know that nobody knows who they are. If they suddenly found that they did know the person they were shouting at, they would be horrified.
There's more traffic on the roads than there used to be. And everybody's in a rush. I think that perhaps women are more conscious of not making mistakes in their car because we're seen as terrible drivers and are often criticised by men on the roads as being terrible drivers. And I think that perhaps we're more conscious of that, so we make perhaps more of an effort. And I also think that women are more considerate on the road. I think that, you know, they let people go more, or they're a little... I think maybe we are better drivers. Men don't think that, but I think that maybe we are. We just have the most terrible reputation. You have to be aware that there are other people on the road, so you have to drive quite cautiously, otherwise you're going to end up having an accident, and I don't want to have an accident. So I try to be as level-headed and calm as I can be in the car. It doesn't always happen, but I think breathing deeply helps. Anyway, I've done my shopping. Now I'm heading home. Hope the traffic isn't too bad.
Up the curb. That's it. I give way to couriers. People earning a living I give way to, if I've got time. There's no way I'm giving way to sort of women who are down there shopping, who don't know the score. Come on, Jesus, come on. Come on, babe, come on, move. Come on, go. The truth of it is, it's the men that drive like I do that are the danger. They're not the danger. But you put a woman in this situation, it's, you know, yeah, they're a danger. They cause problems. They cause men to take more chances than they do anyway. Like, if I got really ticked off with somebody being in front of me not moving fast, I'd try and cut out here. And your man out here behind me is not going to let me. He doesn't want me out there. And so you've got that vying for a place because she's there and she's slow. She'll probably come up with a more sensible decision than a man, but it's not fast enough, you know, it's just not fast enough. The way they'll pull away from lights, they won't engage gear until the lights change green, then they'll release their handbrake. All the standard textbook stuff they've been taught when they were being taught to drive. In the same way that if you're behind them in the store and they're paying for their shopping, they'll wait until they're asked, you know, that's £25, madam. Then they'll go into their bag, then they'll look through all the crap they've got in there for their purse, and then they'll bring the purse out, and then they'll pay with plastic, you know. Well, you apply that to the roads, make you crazy.
And a great big block of black paper.
And 20 silk cup. And some stamps as well, please. £70. Can I have a receipt for that, please?
I don't take breaks. I never take breaks because I can't afford to lose work. When I'm away from the vehicle, that radio comes on with work, I've lost it. I've got to stay by that radio and grab every bit of work that's coming. I can't afford not to. I've got bills to pay. I can't take breaks. Good.
I'm opening them straight
That's the
away.
one.
I mean, we need flats around here.
We're here, Sam. I don't think people realise how stressed they get being in a car. Get out of your car, park and go for a walk. More people should do it. I couldn't possibly have a job where I was in my car all day long. It would drive me mad.
Double 04.
Yeah, you got 004?
Empty, Belsize Park.
Yeah, both to both going in C4, please.
That's a Roger.
I'm probably the worst person to start the knowledge because I didn't have a clue. And although I grew up in London, I didn't have a clue. And he was quite good, my husband. He'd say to me, you've got to drive around the area before you start so you know where you are. And he was very good, really. But I think deep down he would prefer me not to go out.
Well, I suppose it's a macho thing. No husband's quite happy about his wife starting to do a thing that's really is a male occupation. But after a while, you get used to it. So I think she had a harder time doing her knowledge than I did, because naturally she's got the children and running of the house, where a lot of men have a tendency to leave it to their wife. They take it for granted. But she done very well in the end, and I'm very pleased with her. I think my wife's one of the best women drivers I've come across. You know, I wouldn't go so far as to say she's a better driver than me, but equal.
What qualifications have you got to have to be a driver? It's just a lot of common sense, really, isn't it? Not the fact whether you're a woman or whether you're a man, it's just using one's common sense.
Most women drivers are considered to be bad women drivers. Not so much that they are going to cause an accident, but their concentration is more lax, and they haven't got the same distinctive feelings as a man would when he's driving.
He'll be all day getting in that spot, look. Get a bus in there.
I think they're the worst drivers. They veer out from one lane to the other without signalling. They do many different things that a man possibly wouldn't do. I mean, a man will cut you up by all means, but but he'll do it in the correct manner.
Who are the better drivers, men or women? It's very difficult to say because I think there's, in fact, a tremendous overlap. But I would reckon that women on the whole they're certainly safer drivers. Men like to feel that they're pushing things to the edge. They like to feel that they're following a high-risk strategy in their driving as well as in parts of their life, for example, in the sports they take up. So I think that's a very male thing. Men, if you ask them, of course, they always drive extremely well. And they're always, 98% of them are considerate drivers. Well...
Fuck off! Sandwich, Timothy. Women think you should be able to go around 30 miles an hour. And it would be nice, you know. It would be nice if we could all drive at 30 miles an hour, obey the rules, be courteous. It would be nice. It would also be nice if we could let our children play in the streets till 11 o'clock at night. That would be nice. And also, if we weren't bombing the shit out of some country somewhere at the moment, that would be nice too. But that's the world it should be. This is a real one. Here's old Bill in front of me. He hasn't seen I'm not wearing a belt, so I'll just hook that there for the moment. Belts are very confining in London, they are. I think they're more dangerous than they're safe, you know, they cause more problems. Women think men are pigs in London, I can tell by the expressions when I carve them up or toot them, you know. They look at me as if to say, why has it got to be this way? But it has. Because the majority of drivers in London that are here all the time are men. And they're aggressive, they're fast. Even when they don't have to be. Just naturally aggressive. Like here, this car on the right-hand side of me, this Cherokee thing, you know, I don't even know the guy, but he's not going to like it that I'm going to be going up the inside. He won't like it. He won't like this. Always thank him after you carved him. It takes the sting out of it, you know. You put your hand up and thank the guy, it's not a challenge. You know, you've thanked him for giving you a chance. Look, he's up my arse now. That's a problem. Over, come on, over, man, over. That's women as well, they ride that white line, which is okay as long as nothing's riding the line coming the other way. And they drift, women drift. Their head's somewhere else, you know, your head's got to be on this.
Makes a change, a woman driver. Needs to chat a bit more.
Do you think it's easier talking to a woman?
Yeah, I think it's easier at night. I think even if you get in a black cab at night, you still think if it's a man driver and you're going home, it's probably makes you feel a bit more comfortable if there's a woman driver.
Well, I suppose it's nicer sometimes being driven by a woman because then you can talk about women's things, really, can't you?
What's people's reaction when they find out you're a woman, when they get in and they look at you? Do they?
Well, sometimes it's funny because sometimes you get the guys and they go, how long have you been driving a cab? And sometimes I'll look at the clock and I go, oh, about 3 hours. And all of a sudden I hear click at the back where they've put their safety belt on very quickly. And I always get a laugh from that. Always makes me laugh, that does.
No comments about bad driving?
No, not while they're in my cab anyway. Look, just, you know, how can you do that? You've got a buggy and you just push it out in front of you. Look at him, look. Just cut me up, why don't you? You're invisible today, go on. Pull up sides him because he's taking a right and he's going to knock you off the road, mate.
I mean, I would prefer her to stay at home so when I come home from work, I've got my dinner. I've got all the little bits and pieces any husband would like.
Legal U-turn, mate. Unbelievable.
Now, when I go home at the end of the day, I sometimes have to do my own dinner. Oh, sometimes, thank goodness for microwaves, my wife can have one prepared and I can put it in the microwave.
Men find it very difficult to feel equal with women. For example, even if they're supposing a man and his wife or with a partner are going out at night, he drives there and then he goes and gets pissed and she drives back. I mean, you know, that's the order of the day. And they find the equality extremely difficult.
Well, when we go out as a family, my husband always drives. We don't even discuss it, really. He just automatically gets in the driving seat.
Everybody all right back there?
I've just come to accept that, really. He's the man, he drives.
As I'm the head of the family, so to speak, my role is is mainly to make sure everybody gets everywhere they need to get to. And so I do the driving. I feel happy doing the driving. I don't mind my wife driving. In fact, I feel quite secure with her in the car, but I feel more in control if I do the driving. And so my wife feels that way as well, so I'm quite happy to carry on the way I am.
This is my time now to put my shopping away, have my lunch or something to eat, and then I go and pick up the children. So it has to be sort of pretty fine-tuning. And some days it's a rush. Because I'm trying to get everything done before I have to pick them up. Parking, you've got to be able to park. And then I get one and go around the corner and get the other one. So it's, yes. I go into top gear, I think, at around 2 o'clock when I know I'm going to go and pick them up. My system is to try to pick up my kids from school with as least stress as I possibly can. Sometimes it's a problem, sometimes it isn't, but as I'm quite early, hopefully it won't be too bad. And I'm going to park right here. I'm on a residence parking bay, and I suppose I shouldn't really be parked here, but there is nowhere else to park. I just hope that I'm not going to get a ticket. I get to school at about 2:45. The youngest daughter finishes at about 3:10. And so I basically waste 20 minutes. But for me, it's the least stressful way of doing it because it means that at least 9 times out of 10 I can park. If you come any later, you just cannot park. People are double parked, there are traffic woods, it's a nightmare.
There are you. She said I'm getting commission.
They're here, yet again. It's a daily routine, daily basis. Sometimes the clamp vans are out, and they are smiling. I suppose that's what annoys me even more, that they're smiling. I just wonder if, you know, they particularly want to be parking attendants because they enjoy the idea of having a uniform and having some sort of control over people.
I know where it is, but I mean, you can't give, if I give you 20 minutes and give another mother 10 minutes and give her a parking ticket, it's not fair.
Been in this school for 5 years.
It's not fair for me to give you an extra time.
What I'm saying to you, that we are doing that for 5 years,
Yes,
and we have this agreement.
I know that you do.
If I get a ticket by displaying this, I will never pay for it.
Well, it's up to you, madam, but I know you're allowed 10 minutes.
You see, they stand, they tell everybody, okay, you know, you've got 5 minutes or however long you've got. But then when you're in the building getting your child, it's their word against yours as to how long you've been. And I'm going to have to go into school any minute to pick up. So the chances are that I may get a ticket. I suppose we'll have to wait and see when I come back.
Why don't they just have a school bus that ferries these kids backwards and forwards? Keep the roads clear, the females off, back at home. Why don't they cook something? Have some children. Polish things. What the bloody hell is she doing now? Oh, what is this? I always tend to think they're driving the husband's car. I don't know why I think that. Probably it's, you know, from the class I'm from and the age I am, that men being the breadwinners, women stay at home or work for pin money, as it were. You know, I'm sure that don't exist anymore. It's not that way. There's a lot of career women out there who are competing with men.
there will always be a small percentage of very macho-orientated, testosterone-filled men who will always want to be superior, and they will carry on being difficult and saying bloody women and, you know, trying to cut women up on the roads and those sort of things. The sort of man that is difficult on the roads is the sort of man who would be having difficulties in coming to terms with changes in women's status and emancipation in every way. I think in the future, if the sex roles in driving get blurred, that will be a very good thing, because there's no reason, I think, why women should be like, quote, women, unquote, drivers. They can be themselves. And I think that will change. I think that there will be much less differentiation between the sexes.
The main reason I bought this car was because of the, you know, the speed it does, and it's just so fast. But I do flirt in it as well, yeah, I must admit. I do flirt in it. I think speed's on a par with good sex, definitely, yeah. Yeah, most definitely. My gear steer, it just feels nice to touch. My friend Paul gave that to me. It's all smooth and shiny. Bit sad, really. I didn't like the leather one that was on there. This is just more like, I don't know, nicer to change gear with. I'm not saying what it reminds me of. If I drive my car into work, the parking would be anything between £10 and £15 a day. And then I can easily do £15 worth of petrol. That's how much it costs me. If I got on the train, it'd probably cost about £8 return, but I just wouldn't do it. I'd rather pay the money and drive, because I just prefer driving to work. I'm not going to say the exact speed for various reasons why, which I can't. I'd let myself into all sorts of trouble. But put it this way, if I could drive the car to the max, I will. But like I said, on the roads and the speed limit, you're not supposed to, are you? My husband's really quiet and shy. He's a carpet fitter. He's a nice guy, but he's a complete opposite to me. But they say opposites attract, don't they?
Well, Paula's love of cars don't really bother me, because I like cars as well. I mean, if it was something like, to say she was going on with, like, you know, say, like, her hair or whatever, it wouldn't interest me whatsoever. But the car is, we both enjoy the car, so that's what it is with the car. We both enjoy it, so we both get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
I put the front of the stereo in my handbag and the keys for the car, so when he comes home he can't drive it because there's no keys and there's no stereo, so he can't go anywhere. Well, I put them in my bag by habit, not because I don't want him to drive it, but it's nice to come home and it's still sitting there waiting for me to go out in it.
I have got my own key now, which hangs up in the cupboard, but I'll find every time I go out in the car, I'll have no stereo. And one day I got my little stereo out of my van, which is worth about £5, and had it going for her, and she couldn't stop laughing when I pulled up and said, like, turn this rubbish off. But that was just my little joke to get back at her, you know.
I think I'm a very safe driver, confident driver. Yeah, very confident. I think I'm no worse than men. In fact, I think I drive a lot better than some of the men I know.
Women drivers don't think necessarily have a very good spatial awareness. I don't think they're aware of the length of the car and the width of the car, which causes problems when you're trying to get through traffic, bollards. They hesitate.
Men seem to drive as if they're on a mission. They are out to get there quicker, to get there faster, to just do it as smoothly as possible, beat as many yellow lights, whatever. They're on a mission.
Most men drivers, I think, have a very biased view of women drivers. I mean, I think it's been proven statistically women are actually better drivers than men anyway.
I think they're catching up now. I think women will eventually get to the point where they're the same as the men. They'll be jumping out the cars and starting on the other drivers. It's only a question of time. The more the stress, the more it will happen.
His hand. Wait, Joanna, wait. Okay, over, quickly over. Hello, have you ticketed me?
No, you're well.
Oh, thank you. Right, come on, in we go. Over and put your belts on. Joanna, pick up Tash's bag, darling, otherwise we're going to walk all over it. Tash, put your seatbelt on. Guy, darling, put your seatbelt on. Children, all of you, put your seatbelts on. Joanna, now. Okay. Everybody okay? Happy? Okay, let's go home.
What's your name?
I'm not allowed to give my name to members of the public.
So just by the number I can find you?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Oh boy. Let's hope we can get out of here now. And the traffic wardens are giving tickets. Over here, look.
So you gave me 10 minutes, and this is 10 minutes, isn't it?
I said I'll give you an extra 5 minutes.
Black bitch.
I'm proud of my colour, madam. I think men tend to control their temper more than the women do. Probably it's a female thing. So,
She gave me a ticket because I collect my children from school. For 5 years I'm doing that. For 5 years, and this is the first time she does this because she's a stupid bitch.
Oh, God. How long are we going to sit for like this? Oh, my God, look at the way they drive. Go on, go on, go. What are you doing? And, of course, people park on both sides of the road, which means that the road, a narrow road, becomes even narrower. But today was a good day. Has been much, much worse.
Right, Steve.
All right. No, do I need, all right. Take the docket, yeah?
When I was first manager in the office, the men did walk over me for a little while until I thought, I'm not taking any of this, and then I started sacking people.
Yeah, shoot in there, pick up
I've always wanted a job where I'm manager of men and men are working underneath you. It is nice, I like it.
I'll call you empty, Paula. See you later.
Yeah, Paula's all right to work for. Yeah, she, very, very easy going. Paula's very easy going. You know, doesn't shout at me often. She doesn't beat me too often. Only with a wet spring onion occasionally, when I ask nicely. But, no, yeah, Paula's fine. She can drink 14 pints of Guinness and smoke 5 Hamlet in an hour. No, yeah, I'll definitely say Paula's one of the lads.
She's still female, but she's, like, got, like, not men tendencies, but she tends to do more men things than womenly things. So
She does more men things than I do. That's only on a Friday, okay? Remember that?
Yeah, ICC, you got an E1 for you, thank you. An E1, 0566, your docket number.
That's Roger. Anybody I talk to likes feminine women. Men don't like that androgynous sort of way that they can probably down as many pints as you, and that's not where it's at. Men don't like that, I'm sure they don't. And they also don't mind if women seem a bit helpless in certain circumstances. It gives us a reason to exist, you know. But the way it is with the IVF thing and all that, and the genetic engineering is going to go along, I fear for my sort of existence.
There are a lot of women now, and increasingly with changes in society, with both people working with the wage earners being equal, where women have very powerful masculine identifications and behave either like men do behave or as they imagine men behave. Women are getting more confidence in themselves, in their own potency, and their own being a person, not just a woman. And I think this shows itself very much in driving.
Get out of the way! Fuck off! Get out of the way! Should be on the road!
Dream on? We're nowhere near.
men basically think I'm a fast flash cow. And to be honest with you, I'm not really bothered, because as far as I'm concerned, I worked bloody hard for this car. So it's their problem, not mine. I'm the one who's driving it.
Yeah, sometimes I'm breaking on the floor for Paula to stop, you know. I value my life too much. You know, you're only here once, aren't you? And the slightest thing that can happen at sort of any kind of speed, and, you know, who knows what will happen.
The fastest speed I've ever been in a car is 165 miles an hour. That was driving a 928 Series 4 Porsche, and I run out of road.
Paula's too harum scarum at the end of the day. I mean, you couldn't leave Paula at home all day and expect her just to stay there. She'll be out everywhere. I mean, Paula will do in a day what the majority of people will do in a week. So that's basically Paula at the end of the day. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having children, but I can't see it happening.
Babies are nice. I would love a baby, but not at this particular stage in my life. I'm still a bit car crazy at the moment. I mean, my husband Dean's kind of got out of that stage, and I'm kind of more going through it at the moment. So for the time being, no, I don't think I want a baby. I'd rather have a nice car.
Partly it's changes in society, and partly it's changes in women's attitude to themselves. They're prepared to say, you know, I'm a powerful, effective woman. Why can't I have a powerful, effective car? Why do men find this so difficult? I think there's no real answer, but but they do seem to always have to feel just a bit superior. And as long as it's the little woman, or the woman who's not such a, as they say, a good driver, not such a good driver, perhaps, as I am, they feel okay. If there's any sort of equality about it, they tend to feel threatened. Almost in old-fashioned psychological terms, they feel as if they're being castrated.
Happiness is your woman at the end of the day. Tea. For her to listen, you know, to turn it off, to get it all out. And sleep, knowing you've earned your pay. Because you're not going to sleep if you haven't. That's why I'm here.
When Lee comes home, all he wants really is a cup of tea and then to sit down and bend my ear with the horrors of his day, which usually includes horrendous women drivers and any other sort of horrors that have happened. I don't usually comment, I just really listen. It gets out of the system and that's it.
The future? My future? Keep driving till I'm too old to drive. Hope I got a pension of some sort by then. A few bob tucked away, you know. Or someone to look after me in my old age. There's no future, is there? It's just now. There's nothing else, is it?
Just as aggressively as men behind a wheel, behind a windscreen, anonymous car. If they're in a hurry, they're in a hurry, and it doesn't matter what's in their way or how they act somehow. Somehow they can just honk at people, they can do and act and behave as any way they want.
She'd be, you know, screaming and shouting for some unknown reason. And you're not to know, you know, it's like she's screaming at you, she's got a script and not giving you a version of it to know what's going on. So, you know, they're dangerous.
As I drew alongside these two women, both of them were really swearing and shouting at me and giving me all the like that and like this. I couldn't believe it. I just thought, well, I was amazed that women could behave that way.
First thing I do when I get home is put some music on. And it's got to be specific music. It's going to be mellow music, relaxing music, so I can unwind. It helps me unwind. And the second thing is a big steaming cup of tea, very sweet, warm. And then just unload the whole day's hassle onto my wife, basically, and I just tell her about all the horrendous things that I've gone through. And just get it all out. Regurgitate it all. And she listens to it. Oh, there was this woman today in Belsize Park. In one of those protons, you know, those fancy, sort of cheap but fancy things. They just stop. Hello, darling, you know, until they load up again, and then another one. And when you're trying to get through there, they haven't got the brains to sort of hold back and let you through so the road's clear for them then. No. Straight in, block it up and stop because they're confused now, aren't they? I'm coming down the hill, about 40, 45, you know, picking up speed. She just pulled out in front of me. And when I give her the horn and the lights and plenty of abuse, it's looking at me and giving me it back. Like this. As if I was the one out of order, you know what I mean? And it was her, she just pulled out. And then further on down, I'm trying to overtake her, still giving me the finger. There was this woman in front, and she was one of those drifters, you know the drifters that just, like, drift out, you know, no signals at all. No, I don't think they are aware of the sort of rear view mirror at all, except for makeup, probably angles for the makeup, you know. But they're oblivious to everything behind like that. They're just drifting this way.
If I go out with Dean, I automatically jump in the driver's seat and come out and automatically stand by that side of the car. So he gets a hint in and he goes round to the passenger's side. I mean, I sometimes think to myself, why doesn't Dean say anything? Surely he must mind, because I would if I was him, but he never does. I'm lucky. I am lucky, I know that.